Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
Now we begin the English language transmission from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Here is mixed chorus, song of General Kim Il-sung. You are listening to Voice of Korea News Now. The modern bomb band sent by Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army Kim Jong-un paid a congratulatory visit to large combined unit 630 of the Korean People's Army and gave a performance on the spot. Marshal Kim Jong-un sent the modern bomb band to the unit on April the 11th, not forgetting the kind promise he made during his inspection of the unit under the large combined unit in March last. Park Bong-soo, Choi Ryong-hye, and other senior officials of the party, state and army, together with the band, paid a congratulatory visit to the large combined unit. Vice Marshal of the Korean People's Army, Choi Ryong-hye, Director of the General Political Bureau of the Korean People's Army, conveyed the gift sent by Kim Jong-un. The creators and artists of the modern bomb band, together with the accompanying senior officials, looked around the monument to the revolutionary exploits of the great Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il, the room of education through revolutionary relics, the room dedicated to the history of the unit, the hall introducing heroes, and a sub-unit directly under the large combined unit. Service persons of the unit gave a reed concert, song of racial defense of the leader, sung by soldiers behind enemy lines, and showed special martial art techniques in honor of the creators and artists of the modern bomb band. The performance of the modern bomb band was grandly given at the Servicemen's Hall to celebrate the first anniversary of the election of respected Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The presenter said, respected Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un sent the modern bomb band to encourage the officers and men of the large combined unit, though he is busy preparing the final battle against the enemy, and hoped that the service persons of the unit, bearing his trust in mind, would do their duty as the first human rifles and bombs for resolutely defending the leader, and this defying corps and scouting party for national reunification. The performance began with light music, Look at Us. Put on the stage were various items, including female trio, When the Night is Advancing on This Land, and female solo and pangchang, Song of the Soldier. Service persons and their families warmly congratulated the performers on their successful performance, presenting them with bouquets. Service persons who mounted the stage with excitement said, "It is a deep trust in the officers and men of the unit and the greatest of privileges that respected Supreme Commander Kim Jong-un sent the modern bomb band to our unit." They confidently said that if the final battle starts, they would break into the citadel of the enemy like lightning, drive deep at his heart, and mercilessly mow down the hateful military establishments and reactionary ruling organs of South Korea with successful strikes. The creators and artists of the modern bomb band led the unit amid warm send-off of the enthusiastically waving service persons and their families, who promised that they would wait for them after preparing a stage of performance in congratulation of war victory on the scorched citadel of the enemy. A national meeting was held in Pyongyang on the 11th on the occasion of the first anniversary of respected Kim Jong-un's election to the supreme posts of the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK. Present at the meeting were Kim Yong-nam and the senior officials of the party, state and army, the chairman of the Central Bureau of the Korean Social Democratic Party, officials of the party, armed forces and government institutions, public organizations, ministries and national agencies, service persons of the Korean People's Army and the Korean People's Internal Security Forces, officials in the fields of science, education, literature and arts, public health and the press, labor innovators and working people. Kim Yong-nam in his report said, Kim Jong-un's election to the supreme posts of the party and state has made it possible to firmly carry forward the lifeline of Cultural Revolution and Sungun Revolution and guaranteed a bright prospect of Kim Il-sung Kim Jong-il Korea. He said the great achievements of the greatest brilliant Sungun commander Marshal Kim Jong-un will shine through all ages. They firmly defended the socialist motherland, representing the whole lives of the great generalismos Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, and the destiny of the people, resolutely destroying every move of the imperialists to suffocate the DPRK. He called upon the entire party members, service persons of the People's Army and people to resolutely defend Kim Jong-un as manifold fortress and shield in whatever storms and stress, firmly unite around him and invariably follow through generations the long road of revolution, the covered under the guidance of the great generalismos. Respected Kim Jong-un received the fruit basket from the Japan-Korea Society for Scientific and Educational Exchange on the occasion of the first anniversary of his election as first secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. Chairman of the society, Genki Nakamura, who is leading the delegation on a visit to the DPRK, handed over the fruit basket to an official concerned on Thursday. Respected Kim Jong-un received the fruit basket from the family of Zhang Wei-hwa, Chinese anti-Japanese revolutionary martyr, on Thursday on the occasion of the first anniversary of his election as first chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. The Pro-Korea Institute of Culture and Friendship posted respected Kim Jong-un's famous work, The Great Kim Il-sung is the eternal leader of our party and our people, on its internet homepage on the 3rd, and the Canta Clara Publishing House of Venezuela published the work in booklet on the 5th. The historical report and conclusion made by respected Kim Jong-un at the March 2013 plenary meeting of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea were reported by mass media of Russia, Ukraine, Nepal, Mongolia, Australia, Belarus, and Nigeria, and posted on the internet homepage of the International Alliance of Societies for the Study of the Church Idea and Sungun Policy in East European and Central Asian regions between April the 2nd and the 5th. Russian and Ukrainian media printed photos of Kim Jong-un guarding the plenary meeting. Members of the delegation of the Japan-Korea Society for Scientific and Educational Exchange, headed by Chairman Genki Nakamura, and the foreigners visited the Kumsan Palace of the Sun and paid tribute to the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Thursday. They entered the halls of immortality where the great leaders lie in state and made a bow to them. The participants in the 3rd April Spring People's Art Festival laid a floral basket before the bronze statues of the great generalismos Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill and made a bow to them on the 11th. The delegation of Koreans in Japan for celebration of the Day of the Sun, headed by Lee Ji-suk, advisor to the Central Standing Committee of the General Association of Korean Residents in Japan, placed a bouquets before the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill and paid respect to them and their arrival in Pyongyang by air on the 11th. The Economic and Trade Council's call in the DPRK to list a floral basket before the bronze statues of the great leaders Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on Mansu Hill and paid respects to them on the 11th on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. Kim Yong-nam, president of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, sent a message of sympathy to Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad on Thursday concerning the recent earthquake in Bushehr province of Iran, which caused huge human and material losses. The message expressed the belief that the president and government of the Islamic Republic of Iran would heat up the aftermath of the recent disasters as early as possible and stabilize the life of the inhabitants in the afflicted area. Decree number 3111 of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, April 11th, 2102 or 2013. On establishing Ministry of Atomic Energy Industry of the DPRK. The Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, with a view to putting the atomic energy industry of the country on a modern and scientific basis and on a firm foundation of latest science and technology, and increasing production of nuclear substances and improve their quality, and for the developing independent nuclear power industry, decides 1. To establish the Ministry of Atomic Energy Industry of the DPRK. 2. To recommend the Cabinet of the DPRK and institutions concerned to take thorough practical measures to implement the decree. Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, Pyongyang. The 3rd April Spring People's Art Festival opened at the East Pyongyang Grand Theater on Thursday. Present at the opening ceremony were Kim Ki-nam, Yang Hyung-suk, and officials concerned, participants in the festival, creators and artists. Speaker at the ceremony said the festival is a grand political and art festival for singing songs in praise of the sun, reflecting the ardent yearning for the family leader President Kim Il-sung and the firm faith and will of the Armenian people to hold the great generalissimus Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il in high esteem forever. The festival brought together thousands of artists and working people of nearly 70 art organizations selected in the capital, provincial, city and county contests, and overseas Korean artists. The festival will be divided into the National Professional Arts, National Art Schools, National Itinerant Art Schools, and National Working People's Art Festivals, the speaker added. Then, opening performance was given. The 18th Cooking Festival, marking the Day of the Sun, was held at the Pyongyang Noodle House between April the 9th and 11th. The festival was participated in by more than 60 institutions selected from the General Bureau of People's Service, ministries, national agencies, and all provinces, and divided into several sections, including exhibition of local special dishes, unloaded dishes of restaurants, and fixed dishes exhibition. Highly estimated at the festival were the Onye Restaurant, Jong-Il Restaurant, Yanggakdo International Hotel, and Pyongyang Korea Hotel, which presented unique dishes. The festival closed on the 11th. Officials concerned and festival participants were present at the closing ceremony. The result of examination was made public, and citations, diplomas, and medals were awarded to the highly estimated institutions and participants. Youth and students held dancing parties on Thursday at the plazas of the Party Founding Memorial Tower and the Arch of Triumph, and other places in Pyongyang on the occasion of the first anniversary of respected Marshal Kim Jong-un's election as first Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and first Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the DPRK. That day, the dancing parties were also held in provincial capitals, cities, and counties. Preliminary games of Group H for the 2014 Asian Under-14 Football Championships are held by all league matches in Hong Kong of China between the 11th and the 17th. The games will be played by the teams of the DPRK, Mongolia, Hong Kong of China, Macau of China, and Japan. In the game held on the 11th, the DPRK team defeated the Chinese Hong Kong team 5-0. The DPRK team will have the second game with the Japanese team on the canvas. Representative Cho In-min and members of the Pyongyang mission of the South Korean Anti-Imperialist National Democratic Front visited Mangyongdae, the birthplace of the global leader Generalissimo Kim Il-sung on Thursday on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. They laid bouquets before the tombs of his grandparents, Kim Bo-hyun and Lee Bo-ik, and his parents, Kim Hyung-jik and Kang Ban-sok, and observed a moment's silence in their memory. The Economic and Trade Council's corps in the DPRK visited Mangyongdae, the birthplace of the great Kim Il-sung, on the 11th on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. That day, the military attache's corps in Korea looked around the Pyongyang Folklore Park. Officials in charge of culture and friendly relations at foreign embassies in the DPRK visit the historic site associated with the Fatherland Liberation War on Thursday on the occasion of the Day of the Sun. A delegation of the Russian Association for Promotion of Study and Dissemination of Quality Kim Jong-Il's works, delegation of the Mongolian Tzu-Chi Idea Study Organization, French Tzu-Chi Idea Study Delegation, the chairman of the Democratic Congolese National Committee for the Study of the Tzu-Chi Idea, and the chairperson of the Russian Women's Union named after Kim Il-sung flew in Pyongyang on Thursday to celebrate the Day of the Sun. Also arriving in Pyongyang by air or by train that day were marathoners of different countries, including Ukraine, Italy, and South Africa, to participate in the 26th International Athletic Federation Mangyongdae Prize Marathon Games, and the government cultural delegation of the Republic of Indonesia, the general manager of the Chinese Dandong Shenye Trading Company Limited, and his party, Liu Tao, general manager of the Chinese Jilin Civil Kinchen Machine Company Limited, and Li Shangjun, vice chairman of the Azalea branch of the Chinese Floricultural Association, and his party, to participate in the 15th Kim Il-sung Year Festival. The Central Association of Korean Nationals in Russia issued a statement on the 9th in support of the new line of the Workers' Party of Korea on promoting economic construction and nuclear arms build-up simultaneously. And the vice chairman of the General Association of Koreans in China made public a press statement on the 6th under the title, DPRK will win victory in the confrontation with the United States under the leadership of the brilliant Sun-Yun, commander of the battle. The chairman of the National Culture and Arts Subcommittee of the General Association of Koreans in the United States released an article praising the DPRK for demonstrating the national dignity at defiance with the high-handedness and arbitrariness of the United States, and it follows. Meetings for solidarity with the Korean people were held in Brazil and Mexico on April the 2nd and the 6th. Present at the meetings were many local people, including delegates of political parties and organizations. Reporters and speakers there said, thanks to the wise Sun-Yun leadership of respected Kim Jong-un, single-hearted unity and powerful military force, the DPRK would win the final victory and the U.S. imperialists and their fellows bite the dust. The meetings adopted solidarity statements calling for supporting the cause of the Korean army and people, denouncing the United States for its moves against the DPRK, and demanding the Korean Armistice Agreement be replaced with a peace agreement. They also called upon the world peace-loving people to actively come out in the struggle against the high-handedness and arbitrariness of the U.S. imperialists. The chairman of the Communist Party of Bangladesh met the DPRK ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary on the 3rd and expressed full support to the decision of the March 2013 plenary meeting of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. Joint statements were recently issued by the British Association for the Study of Sun-Yun Policy, the British Group for the Study of the Tzu-Chi Idea, and the British chapter of the Korean Friendship Association, and by the other member nations in Latin America, and a press statement by the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Democratic Congo, denouncing the U.S. imperialists for bringing the close of a nuclear war to the Korean Peninsula. An international affairs expert of Britain posted an article titled Criminal Moves of the United States as Source of Conflicts on the Korean Peninsula on the Chinese internet homepage First Media on the 5th. The press statement of a spokesman for the General Staff of the Korean People's Army was reported abroad between the 4th and the 6th. media of China, Russia, Cuba, Iran, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Singapore, Ukraine, the Democratic Congo, Brazil, Peru, Nicaragua, France, Belarus, Cambodia, Thailand, and Venezuela, and the intercompassion of the International Alliance of Societies for the Study of the Tzu Chi Idea and Sunyan Policy in Eastern European and Central Asian regions, reported a press statement in detail under different titles, including DPRK declares it will take countermeasures against the United States. And that's the end of the news read by Jang Hyun-ok and Lee Sang-sim. This is Voice of Korea.
The daily Rodong Sinmun on Friday commented on a South Korean confrontation fanatic scheme to distort history. The commentary said some time ago the new director of the South Korean National Intelligence Service, Nam Jae-jun, groundlessly told the Personnel Affairs hearing at the National Assembly that the Jeju Island April 3rd popular uprising was triggered off by a man dictated by the North, and continued, "It is a malignant slander of the righteous patriotic struggle of the South Korean people, who resolutely rose up for national independence and reunification, as well as another provocation against the DPRK." The Jeju Island April 3rd popular uprising was an anti-U.S. anti-fascist popular resistance of the Jeju Islanders against the movements of the United States for national division to cook up a puppet regime in South Korea through the ruinous separate May 10th election in 1948. Traitor Nam Jae-jun's slander of the popular uprising and provocation against the DPRK at the extremely cat time on the eve of a nuclear war are senseless outbursts adding fuel to flames. He disclosed himself that he is an out-and-out confrontation fanatic, little different from Won Se-hun, and a mean plot brewer who does not hesitate at anything to do harm to the fellow countrymen. Traitor Nam must clearly know that because of his tongue, his neck may be cut, the commentary of Rodong Sinmun stressed. That was the gist of a commentary on a South Korean confrontation fanatic scheme to distort history, carried in the daily Rodong Sinmun on Friday. This is Voice of Korea.
Please enjoy your female soul in Pangcheng, Burning Desire. Trust. The great President Kim Il-sung was awarded the title of General Listener of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea on April 13th, 1681 or 1992. The title of General Listener represents the boundless reverence and trust of the entire Armenian people of Korea for him who wrote a sacred history of victory. President Kim Il-sung embarked on the road of revolution to liberate the occupied country and organized and reached the 15-year-long arduous anti-Japanese armed struggle. In the days of fighting against the Japanese imperialists armed to the teeth, he created unheard-of strategies and tactics. He defeated the Japanese imperialists with such traditional guerrilla tactics as the tactic of the 400-kilometer rush march, allurement and deception, assault, ambush, and pursuit. Such military miracles of Korea continued in the 1950s. The world worried about the destiny of Korea in the war between the would-be world's strongest U.S. imperialists and the young DPRK. President Kim Il-sung had the enemy mercilessly defeated with original and subtle tactics. His uncommon military commanding art and gifted wisdom wrought military miracles in the sky and underground and sea, miracles admired by world military experts even today, such as the dawning of self-styled Citadel of the Sky B-29, peasant liberation campaign which encircled and defeated the enemy's large group through the defense position called the line of no retreat and the center of U.S. naval heavy cruiser called Moving Island. The original and shortwave tactics presented by President Kim Il-sung, which combined the regular war methods and guerrilla tactics, tightened the windpipe of the U.S. imperialists' heart in the new counterattack and position defense. Thanks to the extraordinary military wisdom of the Korean leader President Kim Il-sung, ever victorious iron-willed brilliant commander, the would-be world's strongest U.S. imperialists brought themselves to their knees before the Korean people and signed an ignominious instrument of surrender. President Kim Il-sung not only led two revolutionary wars to victory, but also proudly honored the dignity and sovereignty of the nation in the defense of socialism. Whenever the world's attention was focused on Korea because of military tension, such as the capture of the U.S. imperialist armed spaceship Pueblo and the downing of the AC-121 large spy plane, he calmly and completely turned all unfavorable conditions into favor with the courage and confidence of the backbone and won brilliant victories. President Kim Il-sung is a legendary great man and uncommon hero who decorated his life with mythical miracles. Therefore, the title of General Listener was conferred on him celebrating his 80th birth anniversary, representing the wish of the Korean army and people, will of history, demand of the times, and the desire and aspirations of all people. Along with the name of General Listener Kim Il-sung, ever victorious iron-willed brilliant commander, his military exploits for the freedom of the country and liberation of the people will be told to the generations to come. So far, you've been listening to an account under the title Infinite Trust. This is Voice of Korea. When Prisoner Neil chorus, the leader will stand on Mount Baekdu forever. Here is an orchestral music. Let us hold high the red flag. You appreciate lighter music. We pledge to dedicate our life.
Sophistry to evade responsibility for aggravated tension. The U.S. authorities said the ground target striking exercise they conducted some time ago by sending the B-2A nuclear strategic bombers to the Korean peninsula was part of regular military exercises, and they would cancel the plan to open to media F-22 stealth fighter bombers deployed in South Korea. It is a sophistry to cover up the attempt for preemptive nuclear attack on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and evade the responsibility for the touch-and-go situation created on the Korean peninsula and international criticism. It is an ill-boding military movement that the formation of F-22 stealth fighter bombers of the U.S. imperialist aggressive forces from the Japan proper and Okinawa has been deployed at the Osan Air Base and is watching for a chance to mount a sudden attack on the DPRK, and the B-2A nuclear strategic bombers flew from the U.S. mainland and staged a striking exercise against us. Earlier, the formation of B-52 nuclear strategic bombers of the U.S. imperialist aggressive forces frequently flew in South Korea and conducted nuclear striking exercise for an imaginary war on the DPRK. The DPRK already solemnly declared that it will resist the daily increasing nuclear threat and blackmail of the United States with precision nuclear strike. And once an order is given, will turn out in a total war and accomplish the historic cause of national reunification. What is left now is action. Frightened by it, the U.S. authorities dare to test the will of the army and people of the DPRK, and at the same time attempt to provoke a second Korean War at a good chance. It is for the first time in history that B-2A nuclear strategic bombers called invisible bombers came from the U.S. mainland to South Korea. F-22 stealth fighter bomber, which is not picked up by radar and is capable of loading 8 air-to-air missiles and air-to-ground guided bombs each, is a dangerous war means which is said to be able to drop bombs even at supersonic speed and distinguish between friend and foe out of 250 kilometers. The situation proves that the United States intends to trigger off a nuclear war on the DPRK by mobilizing modern nuclear offensive means in the four-legal joint military exercises whose aggressive nature has been made clear. If the U.S. military bellicose forces have a reason, they cannot send nuclear strategic offensive means to the Korean Peninsula, where the armistice agreement has been completely nullified. The aftermath to be entailed therefrom is really serious. The situation of the Korean Peninsula is not whether a war may break out or not, but on the verge of explosion. In disregard of it, the U.S. bellicose forces are adding fuel to the flames. It proves that they attempt to ignite a war on the DPRK. This notwithstanding, the U.S. authorities are making preposterous remarks that the dangerous joint military exercises are defensive and annual ones. Some of them also say that they show the U.S. will to protect its allies, and it will be a strong message to the DPRK. The U.S. authorities are letting loose a string of incoherent remarks in a bid to cover up their criminal nature as the disturber of peace of the Korean Peninsula. But nobody will be deceived. The U.S. Department of Defense cancelled all of a sudden its plan to open F-22 stealth fighter bomber to the home and foreign media on April the 1st for fear that they would be criticized as aggravator of tension, when all in the sack cannot be concealed. No matter how hard the United States may try to cover its criminal attempt to light the fuse of a nuclear war, the reality clearly shows its true colors as disturber of peace of the Korean Peninsula. You've been listening to an account under the title, Sophistry to Evade Responsibility for Aggravated Tension. This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,103 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz and 13,650 kHz. For Middle East and North Africa between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kHz and 11,645 kHz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kHz and 11,635 kHz. For Southern Africa between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 7,210 kHz and 11,910 kHz. And for Central and South Americas between 4 and 5 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz, 13,760 kHz, and 15,180 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kHz and 15,180 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.